Okay, I don't think we've ever made this in Kathy's Cooking Club, but we're gonna make a tagine. And basically, it's like a Middle Eastern vegetable stew that's a little bit sweet, a little bit spicy, perfect to use up whatever veggies you have. Since we're doing slow cooker instead of another way, any short cooking vegetables we would want to add right before serving, or a half an hour before serving, depending on how long it'll take to cook. So we're going to put all these veggies in here. And in this recipe, we've got potato, sweet potato, red bell pepper. That could be any kind of bell pepper. Carrots. I went ahead and put some eggplant in there, and those are some diced apricots. So let's get all this stuff in here. This is going to be the hearty part of our stew. In a way, we're going to add some chickpeas as well. But we'll get this kind of all mixed up and yummy. Then I've got a drained can of chickpeas. And all of this is going to freeze really well too. So, okay. And we're going to add some water and bouillon cubes to it as well. So we're going to have a couple of bouillon cubes. We're going to use 2 of these. We're going to use some tomato paste. That's about 2 tablespoons, might be 3. And a couple of other things that we're going to use. We have we're going to make our own kind of spice blend. That's why I have my computer here, so I can kind of remember what the kind of ratios are. But we can use some cayenne pepper if you don't have harissa. Harissa is hot chili peppers with like coriander and caraway. It does have some salt and some sunflower oil in it, so you could totally skip this if you want. But let me show you. This is just Trader Joe's harissa. It looks a lot like the chili garlic paste, but it's different. It's a different chili pepper. And just the same way, Indian chilies are a little different than Asian chilies and all of those things. But you can always use what you have at the moment. So I want to add a little bit of like zesty goodness. We've done this with soups before. I want to try and get a really nice piece of zest, lemon zest. And I'll show you from overhead. I'm just going to use the peeler, and I'm trying to get as little pits or white part as possible while still making this a couple of inches long, so it'll be easy to get out. If you ended up with more white, this little bit of white is absolutely fine. And that's just going to add a little bit of yumminess. Okay, so we're going to put in 2 teaspoons of minced garlic. Okay, then we'll start putting some of our spices in. Okay, so I'm gonna reference this a little bit. This is one of my other recipes for a different tagine. And we're gonna do about 1½ teaspoons. Oh, I thought that was gonna fit in there. That's why I got these spoons. I'm gonna do 1½ teaspoons of coriander. We are going to do a teaspoon of ground cumin. We're going to do a teaspoon of smoked paprika. We're going to do a teaspoon of cardamom. And we're going to do ½ teaspoon of cinnamon. And the cinnamon is really important. Kind of sometimes more than the other ones. And then So we're not going to use any pepper. We're going to use some of this harissa instead. And let's start off with about half a teaspoon, just to make sure Cheryl can still eat it. We can always adjust that up later. Okay, we're going to put about, let's start and see what a cup looks like. We may put somewhere between a cup and a half we've got in there right now. And then I'll mix this up and then we'll add some of our frozen stuff. I want to be able to smell this mixture together. And what's really kind of special about the tagine is all of these beautiful flavors together. Oh, that smells really good. I'm just gonna, I think we can do a whole teaspoon of the harissa. And that's about 1.5 cups of water. I'll go ahead and get some of that yummy tomato paste kind of mixed in there. We'll get a couple of bouillon cubes to cook in there to make a richer broth. Oh, it's starting to smell so good, you guys. So good. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead, well, I'm hesitant to add more water just because in the slow cooker, all of these vegetables are gonna release some of their own liquids as well. But your house is gonna smell amazing while this is cooking. We'll just put this on. We can cook it for 7 to 9 hours, which just means it's not going to be ruined. It could cook a little bit longer. It might be done a little bit sooner depending on what veggies you use, how big you cut them up, all those different things. And you can serve this, traditionally you serve it over couscous, and there is brown rice couscous if you are, because couscous is the teeniest tiny mini pasta. It's actually not a grain, it's a pasta that is tiny like a grain. And you could use riced cauliflower if you wanted to. You could use steamed rice. You really could do whatever you want because it's your kitchen. But couscous has this beautiful mouthfeel, and along with the vegetables and the bursts of spicy and the bursts of sweet, it really kind of creates this whole experience. So if you can get some, do. And you just cook that separately and serve this over it. Okay, let's take a look at that tagine. Like I said, I did this one in the 360 and I had it on high. So it has 4. So it goes up to 4, which is really quite high. And I'll let you see what that kind of looks like. It's been, I think, about 3 or 4 hours. And ta-da! You can still see we need to mix some things up. We see our bouillon cube kind of sitting here. We can see, oh good, I was worried there might not be enough liquid, but there sure is. Oh, it smells fantabulous. And one of the things that you could do, and this is that piece of lemon, so I'm gonna go ahead and get rid of that, so that Cheryl doesn't eat it and say, wait, what's going on? So if it had not, if I open this up, I'm going to turn this, actually I'm going to unplug it because this one doesn't have an off. I could mash a couple of these larger potatoes and or just take the lid off and put it on high. With this, I can just put this right on the stove. So that's another reason, should you want to have a super expensive slow cooker, it's because this is super expensive, like a Scan Pan. But I do love it. And one of the things I love is what you're seeing here, that I can cook it on high in just a couple of hours and have everything be pretty ready. So let's take a taste, see if I need to add anything. Get a little bit. A sweet potato and the apricot, a little bit of darkness from the eggplant. I think that's pretty good. It's got some spice to it from the harissa for sure. I'm going to put just a little bit of cinnamon because I feel like the cinnamon's a little dull. I'm going to put just a little bit of coriander. And really, I'm probably putting about a 1/4 teaspoon. I'm just putting enough so that the aromas will be there for me. And let's do a little more smoked paprika too. So you can kind of see that we're not talking about a whole lot. Oh, but the aromas are magical. And again, you can serve this over couscous, over rice. You could eat it as a stew if you wanted to, because it's your business, right? It's nobody else's business what's going on. I would add a little bit of salt or salt substitute, but I think it's really ready to go. And it looks really good.